I wasn't going to videotape this, so this is kind of last minute. This is an experiment. I want to see if it's going to come out. I'm making this giraffe. Let's see if I can find a picture of it. And it's a giraffe pattern by Allison North. And a friend of mine's already made the pattern, and she said that she had trouble with the neck being really floppy. And you could put a dowel in there, but then it wouldn't be washable. So I decided to try to make the neck stiffer by rolling up some felt. This is just craft felt. And I rolled it up really tight, and then I wrapped it with some cotton string or cotton warp. And I sewed it to, but before the pattern, let's see, let me back up a little bit. The pattern's starting to decrease up toward the neck. So you start at the bottom of the body, and then you start decreasing up to the neck. So I'm at the point where I'm starting to decrease. So I decided to go ahead and sew the support in now. You don't want it moving around in there. So I did a little blanket stitch at the bottom of the felt, and I sewed it to the inside of the body. So now my plan is to go ahead and stuff it to where it centers this support, and then just crochet and stuff as I go really firmly. And it's not that hard to deal with, to be honest, while you're crocheting. Since it's sewn into the bottom of the body, you can just ignore that it's there and just keep on crocheting. I've reached the point in my pattern to where there's no more decreasing going on. I'm just going to stitch the neck until I get all of the rows done, or the rounds done. And then I'll see if I need to trim down this armature before I attach it to the head. But as I'm going, I'm just taking some stuffing and kind of wrapping it around. I'll take it and make a little rope out of it, and then I'll wrap it around, and then I stuff it down in there, and it's working out pretty well. Okay, as you're stuffing this, make sure that your rounds are not getting scrunched, and that you're not pulling the armature out to where this starts getting sunk in the middle. I started noticing that as I went along, that this started getting farther and farther inside, and my rounds were getting more scrunched up compared to the body part of it. So I stuck a double-pointed knitting needle in there to hang on to that bottom, because this armature is sewed down to the bottom. So as I stuff, it was starting to pull in, and so I stuck a knitting needle in there. And now when I'm stuffing, I'm very careful to pull up on the edges as I stuff, so I'm making sure my rounds don't get scrunched up. All right, I finished the last round on the neck area of the giraffe, and I have a little excess of the armature, so I'm just going to cut it off. If it doesn't work with these scissors, I'm just going to use a craft knife, or you can just slowly start trimming it away until you get it cut off, whichever way. But I'm not going to cut it all the way down because I want to stuff it a little more. Just be careful not to cut your the crochet portion of it and the tail that you've left for sewing. So I'm going to pull this up a little more and then stuff that down a little bit tighter, and then I'll be ready to sew this onto the head of the giraffe. Very cute. I've got the head sewed on now, and the neck is firm enough to hold him up so he can sit on a shelf without his head falling over.